So, good afternoon, everyone. First of all, we would like to thank you for attending our site event this afternoon. This site event is organized jointly between the government of Indonesia and UNODC. And this afternoon, we have some panelists today joining with us. There are representative of government of Thailand and also representative of customs agency from Italy, and also from our colleagues in UNEP, and also of course BRS Secretariat, and my colleague from UNODC. So if you can see in the screen that our side event today, we will talking more about the cooperation to combat illicit waste flows to Southeast Asia. And this is as a part of contribution to the sound management of waste and to the implementation of Basel Convention. We also have this event streamed online. We have online participants, and also I think it's also live streamed through the Indonesian Ministry YouTube account. So to start our session today, I will give the floor to Ms. Tatiana for her presentation on behalf of the BRS Secretariat. So let me. So Ms. Tatiana Teropova has a leading role in the illegal trafficking and trade of hazardous chemicals and waste under the Basel, Rotterdam, and Stockholm Conventions Partnership Program and the engagement with non-state actors. Tatiana implements a number of capacity building activities, including in relation to marine pollution and plastic wastes. She deals with the sustainable development goals and governance issues of the Basel and Stockholm Convention regional centers. Prior to this function, she was coordinating capacity building activities for the implementation of the Basel, Rotterdam, and Stockholm Convention, including the E-Waste Africa program. She has been in the United Nations family for nearly 20 years. She has a background in international environmental law and law degrees. So, Tatiana, I give the floor to you.
Thank you very much. And it is really my pleasure to participate in this side event organized by our partner organization, UNODC. In the past few years, UNODC increased its involvement and its support for the implementation of the Basel Convention, which we welcome very much. And I think today in the plenary we also heard a lot of challenges brought by parties and others in the implementation of the convention. Also keeping in mind we have the convention is a live convention, it's growing. You have various amendments, not only the ban amendment, but also plastic waste amendment and the plastic and e-waste amendments, which will be effective in 2025. And in my presentation today, I would like to specifically focus on the overall role of the international cooperation in this area. Maybe it's better go like that. And here I would like to give you a couple of very concrete examples as how the international cooperation can be designed and how it can be implemented. And one very practical and very concrete example is the network, which has been already operational for quite several years, which is called Enforce. It's a network for optimizing regulatory compliance on illegal traffic, and it was strengthened with some additional. The mandate has been amended at the last COP to give the Enforce a stronger mandate to do more and stronger activities. So just very quickly, the Enforce consists of parties. to the Basel Convention, as well as the entities with the mandate to work on the illegal traffic, and also entities which has a specific role in illegal traffic. And currently we have those countries or parties representing the respective regions, including Malaysia, for example, for Asia Pacific region, Georgia, Benin, Antigua and Barbuda, United Kingdom, as well as the regional centers representing also their regions. And in addition to those members which were elected or designated, there are also additional enforced members and observers which have this very specific role. And you can see there is Greta Randall, Asian Network, led by the government of Japan. You have BAN, Impal, UNEP, of course, our very important partner organization, UNODC, recently became member, Interpol, Europol, the World Customs Organization, and most recently UNITAR joined the network. We also have two observers, which is Interpol and Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe. So as you can see, all the key actors which are working on the issue of illegal traffic are in the network. And in terms of the activities, it's really about exchange of information. It's about developing common approaches and strategies for preventing illegal traffic. It's about also increasing visibility of efforts aimed at illegal traffic. So these are the objectives. And in terms of what the Enforce does, it's really sharing experiences, sharing information, sharing common tools and materials developed by various organizations, and monitoring progress. So we basically share with each other projects, initiatives, and then report on the progress and on the successes and outcomes of the projects. Now, at the last COP, as I mentioned, we have some additional area of work which were added to the mandate of Enforce, and here, which includes such activities as facilitating the organization of joint inspections and enforcement operations led by Enforce members. And here, we could in particular mention Impal, Interpol, and WCO. And by the way, WCO, you may know, they have a regular enforcement operations on the implementation of the Montreal Protocol and the Basel Convention. And we have been supporting these operations. However, of course, there could be even further support, including the organization of trainings prior to the operation on the for the environmental authority, but also for the custom authorities. Also, there is invitation to organize joint workshops involving members of Enforce and to train competent authorities and enforcement authorities. And here, you also have some invitations to members, including UNODC, UNEP, and others, to share best practices in relation to inspection, for example, of suspected illegal shipments. Secretariat also is invited to create a network of expertise among the members of Enforce, and what is also very important is to promote communication and coordination, but also to better disseminate various guidance documents and training tools which have been developed. So, for example, under the Basel Convention, the Compliance Committee has developed various guidance documents, for example, on the transit, on illegal traffic, and so on. And what is really important is that other organizations working in the area of illegal traffic under the Basel Convention, aware of this guidance document, also can use when they do the training and capacity building activities in their work. So that was on Enforce. And another very quickly, just an example, again, very concrete example of international cooperation is another partnership, which is called Plastic Waste Partnership. It has a very general mandate, not only on illegal traffic and enforcement, but also environmental sound management. but it has a one project group on transboundary movements, which does very, I think, pertinent activities in relation to enforcement. And this is quite a big partnership. It has already more than 120 entities and more than 250 representatives. And just to give you an example of what some of the activities which are being undertaken and developed under this partnership regarding enforcement is, for example, collection on information on what kind of action parties have taken with regard to the interpretation of the plastic waste amendment specific wordings, which you might know, which need further interpretation at the national level. For example, almost exclusively, almost free from contamination. There is also collection of best practices with regard to enforcement of plastic waste, transboundary plastic waste. And there is a report in the making about this collection of best practices, which could be quite interesting, I think, for the enforcement community. And then beyond that, there are also some other examples, in particular with UNODC of international cooperation. For example, we strongly supported UNODC on with regard to the training on plastic waste in Asia. We also have a very good cooperation with the UN Convention against Transnational Organized Crimes. And here are just examples. For example, on the left side, we recently had a workshop in Nigeria jointly with UNODC on legislation, illegal traffic and trade, for the English-speaking African countries. On the right side, we have another training for Pacific Islands. We also invited various organizations like WCO, Interpol, and others to participate. And here we have another example of international cooperation, again, related to illegal traffic. We organized two side events together with UNODC and some UNEP and other partners, specifically linking illegal traffic to climate change. So that was our first actually attempt or first initiative to do something with regard to climate change and illegal traffic. And then also I have the example of another very important initiative, which is called Green Custom Initiative. I don't know if my colleagues in UNEP will be mentioned that, but this is another example of international cooperation where various MEAs, as well as the international organization, get together to speak about customs and how to promote green customs in their work. So I think my last point would be that, yes, also regional cooperation is also very important. And in that, we rely on our network of regional centers under the Basel Convention, but also Rotterdam Convention. And they have a very perhaps more in-depth knowledge what is happening on the ground in their regions. So this is also a very important partner. I think with that, I would like to conclude my intervention. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Tatiana Cherkova, for the very nice sneak peek to all the very good initiative with the initiative from the BRF as well. To take some questions before you become. Yeah, if there's any, we have a separate Q&A session at the end, but since Tatiana we're going to have like another session after this, if there's any of the audience would like to have probably one or two questions to the Tatiana before she left the room, that'd be great. Or if none, then we can proceed to the next. Thank you very much, indeed, Tatiana. So, yeah, we're going to. Yeah, okay, thank you. So, yeah, slightly changing. So, yeah, for the next presentation, we're going to have a presentation from my colleagues from UNODC and also from UNEP. Let me share the presentation. first. So the first part of the presentation will be delivered by Ms. Yona Kotuju. Ms. Yona is working for UNODC in the regional office for Southeast Asia and Pacific as program coordinator of Project Unwaste. She is based in Bangkok, Thailand. Yona worked for almost 2 decades in environmental sustainability and environmental health, working with international NGOs, private foundation, and the UN system. She has been based in Southeast Asia for more than 8 years and worked on investigation projects related to environmental crimes, ethical supply chain, and human rights. Also, in this session, Yona will share with colleagues from UNODC, which is Ms. Aphrodite Smagadi. Ms. Aphrodite is currently heading the Montevideo Coordination and Delivery Unit at the UNEP Law Division, where she oversees implementation of the 5th Montevideo Program for the Development and Periodic Review of Environmental Law and manage the Green Custom Initiative. She has a special interest in activities on implementation and enforcement of environmental law, environmental crime, and marine litter and plastics. Prior to joining UNEP, she worked for the Secretariat of the Aarhus and the Basel Convention at the UN Economic Commission for Europe and the World Bank. Ms. Magadi is specialized and has published in international environmental law and holds a PhD in law from the European University Institute in Florence, Italy, and LLM from the University of Freiburg, Germany. So for the next presentation, I give it to Ms. Joanna, but first we have a short video, I think. Right, then now I give to Ms. Joanna to start with her presentation.
Thank you so much, Gina. Thanks a lot for coming, and I cannot thank Tatiana enough for, although she left the room already, for the very nice introduction and putting a little bit in the context the work that is done for the Unwaste project. So as you saw in the video, Unwaste is implemented in a partnership with the United Nations Environment Programme and UNITAR. We have a couple of objectives for the project. So the project has 3 elements. First is understanding of the waste flow. So that objectives relates to research. And this part is managed in collaboration with UNITAR SITO.
Sorry.
No problem. And I'm going to go a little bit deeper into that. The second part of the project relates to national cooperation, and we work in collaboration with 4 countries in Southeast Asia. And the third objective relates to regional, intra-regional, and inter-regional cooperation. So still not working.
Yeah, it's
If you go,
yeah.
it's
Yes.
Yeah,
That's not,
that's
that's
it.
it. That's
Okay, thank you so much. So if you go to the next slide, we'll see, and also it was mentioned in the video, the project focuses on, for now, on 2 regions. So we are looking into waste flows between European Union and 4 countries in Southeast Asia. But also we are trying to work or to expand the work at the wider ASEAN level. The project is relatively new. So the project started 1.5 years ago. And we have a little bit more than 1 year of activities, and we can say we did a lot of things. So on the research level, in collaboration with UNITAR, every 3 months we are publishing these bulletins, where we are trying to look at different type of waste flows. We are looking at open source data mainly and to see what are the patterns with the focus of flows between European Union and Southeast Asia countries. But also in collaboration with countries like Indonesia and Thailand, we also collect waste studies. There are also developments regarding the Basel Convention. And this is distributed to different stakeholders in the waste sector in Southeast Asia and Europe. And one part of the bulletin, we're trying to have a short overview of different regulation in place on different type of waste in different countries. Another piece of work that's coming up, we are working with UNEP and UNITAR on a study on waste trade, and there are different processes that are involved into the study. So we had a process, we did a data assessment, data collection, we have a first expert group meeting, and right now we are organizing another, it's including an expert group meeting and a big regional meeting that is going to happen in Bangkok in the month of June. And for this regional meeting, we are going to gather around between around 80 experts from Southeast Asia, from international organizations working on waste, and from some EU member states to discuss the findings of our data collection, but also Aphrodite is going to talk a little bit more about the work on legislative framework that is done that was done for UNEP on this matter. We're aiming for publication the 4th quarter of this year, probably October, if everything goes well. So at the national level, there are what we are working title National Advisory Committees in the 4 countries, Thailand, Indonesia, Vietnam, and Malaysia. And these national committees, we are trying to facilitate the conversation among different stakeholders in these countries, and we are just trying to catalyze the discussions. And we also try to receive feedback on our work plans to make sure that our work responds to the needs in the region. One of the highlights of the last year, and I think this is very relevant to cooperation, we had a study tour in October last year, and we had 16 delegates from the 4 Southeast Asia countries. We visited not Brussels, the city, but we met with different authorities in Brussels, but we also had a port visit in Italy, in Genoa, and Sandro here is going to talk a little bit more about that. And it was really interesting to see in terms of cooperation what are the major gaps, because what we realized there are a lot of lack of awareness on the European Union member states, and also key authorities who are working on waste, on the work that is done in Southeast Asia. but also the other way around. There is not so much. So there's not so much awareness about what work is done in the European Union, some organizations and member states on the matter. I think this field visit in Genoa in Italy also was very important because there are connections that are established. So only customs officers from the 4 countries went to the visit. There was really important practical conversations that took place on what are the control measures. And Sandro, I don't want to steal what he's going to say, but so they presented their ways of working. And actually it was interesting to see their control measures and establish this cooperation, but it was also interesting to see sometimes the lack of knowledge of the regulations in the destination countries from the origin countries. And I think that's
yes. I mean, I can complement now. I can take over from my colleague. Now it was UNODC. Now it's UNEP. There is an ongoing increasing cooperation between the 2 agencies in the area of environmental crime for obvious reasons. We are the UN entity dealing with environment, UNODC with crime. So everybody in their respective mandates and competences, we work together. And before I speak about the Unwaste and what we do, I want to go a little bit back, 2 steps back, to look at this project, Waste Force project, that was also funded by the European Commission. And it recognized also this cross-border character of illegal management of trade in the management of waste. So there were 9 implementing partners, there were four packages, and we were responsible for capacity building activities for European and Asia Pacific authorities. So we focused a lot on prosecutors networks, and we create also prosecution guidance and customs. And in the law division of the United Nations Environment Programme, we also host the Green Customs Initiative, which is another platform of cooperation between different entities that deal with customs training. And so we try to sensitize and training customs officers how to deal with cases of illegal trade of wildlife or waste or ozone depleting substances. And the partners here are like the usual suspects: UNODC, Basel Convention, Rotterdam, Stockholm, Minamata, also the biodiversity CITES. So we come together and we try to synergize in this way. So as a result of Waste Force project that ran from 2018 to 2021, there was a waste enforcement in Asia community established with over 190 members. That was like different authorities from the EU and Asia responsible for customs prosecution. But also then we worked with UNODC on the Unwaste project. So as UNEP, what do? We focus a lot on the normative aspects, the legislation in the specific countries. And here I have listed the main products that we aim to have at the end of the project. So there is a comprehensive study on policy and legislation gaps in the 10 ASEAN countries. Then a more focused approach in 4 selected countries: Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand, and Vietnam, looking more specifically on administrative and criminal remedies to how they respond to violations of their legal frameworks. And then there is a policy paper on the obstacles that waste trafficking poses to the development of circular economies and best practices. And also a feasibility study more focused on customs procedure. So it's not only about the legislation, but we also want to address how the front officers, the customs officers, are aware of the practical aspects of the legislation in addressing illegal trafficking. And now, like very much in brief, the preliminary findings here. So if we can divide them in 3 main categories. So first we look on how countries can strengthen waste Yes, the waste crime framework in general. So what amounts to criminal liability vis-a-vis administrative or civil sanctions, and also linkages to fraud, organized crime, and corruption, so other offenses. Then we try to look at the framework for specific types of waste, e-waste, plastics, and also compliance with international commitments such as the Basel Convention. Finally, very important are the institutional aspect. Very often we notice that there is legislation in place, but if the mandates are not correct or the institutions are not aware of what they need to do, then there is a problem in enforcement and implementation. So we try to encourage this cooperation and coordination within the country in the same jurisdiction, but also this dialogue within the same authorities and networks across countries. And for all the interventions, we encourage governments to uphold environmental and human rights, as well as gender considerations. I think that's it on my side. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Afro and Joanna. UNODC and UNEP, especially also with the Unwaste project. Now we can proceed to the next presentation by Ms. Rosa Vivian Ratnawati. Ms. Rosa Vivian is the Director General of Solid Waste, Hazardous Waste, and Hazardous Substance Management of Government of Indonesia. First, let me share her presentation. So Ms. Rosa Vivian has been serving as Director General for Solid Waste, Hazardous Waste, and Hazardous Substance Management of the Government of Republic of Indonesia since 2017. She began her career at the Ministry of Environment of the Republic of Indonesia in 1996, and on her more than 25 years of career, she had held various positions within the ministry. Ms. Vivian also has experience as instructor for trainings in the area of environmental law enforcement and environmental dispute settlement, and for the environmental judge certifications. Since 2018, she has actively participated in all the meetings and negotiations at the BRS Convention and Minamata Convention on Mercury. In November 2019, she was appointed as the president of the COP4 Minamata Convention on Mercury. Ibu Vivian,
Okay,
the floor is yours.
thank you very much. Perhaps let me introduce you again. My name is Rosa Vivian Ratnawati, and people usually call me Rosa or Vivian. I'm working for the Ministry of Environment and Forestry, and I'm very happy to be here and share about the cooperation in Indonesia related to illegal trafficking of waste. Please, next. This is the general law and regulation. Basically, we have two kinds of laws. The first is related to the waste from industry. Perhaps you can next. From industry, and then under the law, the environmental law concerning the protection of environment, and then we have also the law related to domestic waste. And basically, everyone actually is prohibited to bring hazardous substance, illegal hazardous substance, illegal waste, hazardous waste to come to the territory of Indonesia, and this is criminal. But the interesting provision that in point C, we have the provision that bring waste from outside the territory is criminal, but there is another words that excluded waste that regulated in other law, because like the law of Ministry of Trade, we can import the waste, the non-hazardous waste for material. So next, This is the types of non-hazardous waste can be imported. I think this is the same for the HS code. And the waste category that import to Indonesia is paper, plastic, rubber, glass, textile, and metal. Next. And why we still import the non-hazardous waste come to Indonesia with the 6 type of waste, because the first industries, especially industry which use the recycled material, still need the material, because the availability waste inside of the Indonesia, we have less. Why we have less? Because actually the waste, the domestic waste, we have 69 million tons per year, but we don't have enough segregation system from the source. So now we really encourage also with the regulation to make the system to segregate the waste, the domestic waste from the house, so we can get the material from Indonesia, and then we have the roadmap for this to get the material from domestic waste from Indonesia, and the target is 2030. We will not import again. Next. This is the waste import requirements. So actually we strict on this. The first for non-hazardous waste, waste from business and activity in the form of residue, scrap, or waste that are not included in the classification of hazardous and toxic waste. So we can import, but in the form of residue or scrap. And for the material for industry, waste that can be imported can only be used for industrial raw materials. And the exporter should be registered, because if they registered, so we can, more easy to, to check, the quality of the exporter. And then the last is company should have producer imported identification number. And how about the waste condition that can be imported in Indonesia? The first is not from landfill activity, and the second is not mixed with garbage, and the third is not contaminated and should be homogeneous. But from the video that we seen together, that actually, with the shape, and then they put the illegal, waste from landfill, from medical waste, they put it inside of the containers. Next. And then how about the role of Ministry of Environment and Forestry in waste importation? So the first importer of waste should submit some requirements. So like document validity statement, environmental approval document, and then also the license of industrial business, taxpayer identification number, and etc. And custom identity number. And from the Ministry of Environment will evaluate the documents, and then if it is okay, so we will issue the letter for the import recommendation. Next, so how about the cooperation among the ministries of or institution in Indonesia? So in the step of preparation, so we have 3 ministries here. Ministry of Trade, they have to provide national system of commodity balance, and Ministry of Environment and Forestry should verify of environmental management of this company, and Ministry of Industry assist industry and determination quota. And then in the step of implementation, so before the shipment, so surveyor and then the surveyor that already designated is Sukovindo is inspection the materials or the waste that will ship to Indonesia. And after they arrive in Indonesia, custom will verify the goods proper with the regulation at the port of Indonesia. And the last is monitoring. This is the authority of Ministry of Environment and Forestry. We provide application online for reporting of import and export activities. And then also after if we get violation in here, so there is a task force, and then I will mention after this about is to tackle illegal traffic. Next. This is the task force. So the task force under the regulation of Ministry of Trade, and the member of task force is Ministry of Trade, Ministry of Environment and Forestry, Ministry of Industry, Custom, Ministry of Finance, and Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Police. So actually the task for this task force is the first is conducting an inventory of related problems. If there is a problem with the importation of non-hazardous waste. And then the second is synchronizing and coordinating the follow-up step for handling problem. And then the third, conducting integrated supervision. And then the last is evaluating, submitting reports, and then also recommendation. So what should the follow-up of this evaluation? Next. This is the mechanism that we use. So basically, if like the first there is a report from the custom, so there are some containers that suspected as the illegal traffic, so they will report to task force, and then the task force will follow up this, and then Ministry of Environment also with the custom will check, and then after the check, so the task force decision, if there is illegal, so there are two kind of a decision. The first is repatriation implementation, so with government to government communication through the Basel, and then notification from original country or documentation for re-export. And then the second is we do extermination is carried out based on the agreement of the task force. Of course, cost of extermination will do by the importer. Next. This is the pictures that we did inspection monitoring. I was there at that time in Surabaya in 2019, and then there are hundreds of containers illegal, and then the content is like this. Perhaps next. Yeah, in the paper importation condition, you can see that there were medical waste, electronic waste, and other waste like shoes, used batteries, diapers, hair, soil, mattress, cloth bag. So it means that they put their domestic waste in here. And the second is the pictures of plastic importation condition. So we have hazardous waste like medical waste in here, and then other waste that violate the regulation of Indonesia, that what kind of waste that can import to Indonesia. Next. So this is what you call it, the result or the decision that I mentioned before from the task force. The first is re-export, and then the second is extermination using an incinerator. Why we have two kind of this? Because we have problem with this actually. So the obstacle in solving illegal traffic cases, the first is no statement letter from the consignee in the country of origin. If there is illegal traffic and the decision is re-export, sometimes re-export could not be conducted if there is no statement letter from the exporter. Therefore, the exporter should make a statement letter that if there is a problem, they will be responsible for the waste and will receive the waste back if re-export is carried out. And then the second problem is resolving container rental fees. So when illegal traffic occurs, the containers have to stay at the port, waiting for the decision, and then the cost for paying, container rentals fee will be increased while waiting for the decision. And then the third is origin country has difficulty in identifying the origin of goods and containers, because sometimes there is a difference between the port of departure and the origin of waste, because sometimes the waste will transit in one country, like if Indonesia, if from Europe and then go before arrive in Indonesia, they will stop in one countries between. So this is the problem also. And then the fourth, differences in repatriation procedures and requirements between countries. So this is also the problem. And the cost of re-export. This is the problem also. Is it responsibility of the importing country or the country of origin? So this is the problem that we face. Next. So we have some solution in the country. So the first, we evaluating surveyor producer. So before or pre-shipment, we have to make sure that the surveyors is a good surveyor. They are a good company, so they are, it's transparent, and they are a good producer when they check the material will import to Indonesia, that this is not contaminated. And then the second, renewal regulation for importation, like detailed information of HS code is more specific, because sometimes it's not specific. So sometimes they put like the waste that almost similar, but this is illegal actually. And then emphasis on the responsibilities of importer and exporters. And the third is establishment non-hazardous waste import task force, consisting of relevant agencies. So that's why in Indonesia we really have a good cooperation, like with the custom. Improve coordination, good communication, and Indonesia will follow the PIC procedure for Annex 2 by the Basel Convention. And the next is renewal of import requirements. Prohibition of non-hazardous waste doesn't origin from landfill, of course, not a household municipal solid waste, not contaminated with hazardous substance, hazardous waste, and homogeneous. And each of non-hazardous waste importer is obliged to provide a statement letter from the exporter. So the experience of Indonesia from 2019 is really bad for us. So we really very careful to revise the regulation, and then we have to have a good coordination among each other. And then exporters should be registered exporter in origin country and has already got approval from the government of Indonesia representatives. So that's why we work with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and embassies in the countries that the origin countries. So if you ask to the embassies in Indonesian embassies, they will know about this, and we rely on them for this. And okay, that's all from my presentation. Thank you very much.
Ibu Vivian, for the very interesting presentation, and also for sharing us lots of interesting pictures as well of what Indonesia has been faced with the illegal trafficking of waste. For the next presentation, we'll have Ms. Wani from the government of Thailand. Let me open the presentation. This is not So yeah, Ms. Wani Sawai currently serves as Director of Hazardous Waste. She is responsible for developing plan system methodologies and promoting technologies appropriate for hazardous waste management. Issues currently under consideration include waste minimization, transboundary movement, Basel Convention related implementation, regulation improvement, and increased capacity building. She has previously served as Director of Waste Minimization. She was responsible for developing policy, measures, and guidelines for management of packaging waste, plastic waste, and marine debris. Wani has over 20 years of experience working for Pollution Control Department as a senior environmentalist. Her primary degree is in public health from Kunken University, Thailand, and she has master degree in environmental health science from Tulane University, USA. Kunwan is the course is yours.
Okay, thank you, Dila. Good evening, everyone. Thank you, UNODC, to give a chance for Thailand to explain about case study illegal waste trafficking. So, to share my experience. Before I go to share my case study in Thailand, let me introduce about Basel Convention that Thailand take action in my country. Thailand ratified the Basel Convention in 1997 and come into force in 1998. So in my country, there are three main departments that take action in order to control of transboundary hazardous waste movement. The first department is my organization, Pollution Control Department of TCD. TCD is the focal point of the Basel Convention. For the second department is the Department of Industrial Work, we call DIW. DIW is an competent authority of Basel Convention in Thailand. And the third department in that related with Basel Convention in Thailand is the Thai Custom Department, or TCD. TCD is an operation agency that is responsible for controlling check for import, export, or being through hazardous waste in accordance with the relevant regulation, maybe a custom law. In the future, we still have more than department that support for take action about Basel Convention, maybe Ministry of Trade, Ministry of maybe Ministry of Trade and Ministry of Finance, yeah, that support us to do take action about Basel Convention. Next. Okay, in Thailand we have the law related to transboundary movement of hazardous waste. We have three main laws related to control hazardous waste movement. The first is Hazardous Substance Act 1992, and the second is Custom Act 2017, and the third is Export and Import of Goods Act in 1979. And we have other related law for supporting operation. Next. In addition, in Thailand, we have notification of the Ministry of Commerce to prohibit goods for import and transit through the Kingdom of Thailand. For example, goods that prohibit to import to Thailand, we have a prohibit municipal waste and e-waste and used car and used tire that we have notification. For the policy in Thailand, Thai government has policy to prohibit the import of waste. So Thailand strictly inspect import into the kingdom. If found that is illegal import waste, they will be sent back to the origin country as soon as possible. In order to loading the country, this means Thailand for manage this way. For case study about illegal import waste, I will share case that illegal import of waste electrical and electronic equipment or we from Japan. This is a timeline for this case. Maybe for a long time that I don't take action for this position. In August 1st, 2014, Department of Industrial Work or the IW with take action SCA of Basel Convention receive information regarding the illegal export of mixed metal scrap from Japan to Thailand. And after that, in August 28, 2014, the IW official inspect goods with a custom official at the Lam Sabang port. This weight declared as a mixed metal scrap, but when we inspect, we found that was with electrical and electronic equipment or we. There are 8 containers or around maybe around 200 tons in 8 containers. The exporter was a company from Japan. The importer was factory in Thailand. So in October 21st, 2014, the IW inspect the importer factory in Thailand. This factory is a Thai of 105. They work about segregation of non-hazardous industrial waste, especially paper, plastic, wood, and metal scrap. So you can see from the picture. So from this case study in December 3rd, 2014, Thailand notified to competent authority of Japan, that is Office of Ministry of Environment of Japan. The matter that Thailand notified to the CA of Japan, we have the 4 matters. The first is under that Thailand national legislation, hazardous waste movement control under Basel Convention and hazardous substance law, list 5.2, that is chemical waste. The second matter that we noted to CA of Japan is waste electrical and electronic equipment or V and scrap electronic circuit boards are controlled in list A and list 5.12. The third matter is always in list 5.2 are allowed to import in Thailand only for using as raw material to import importer factory, not for disposal. The fourth matter is scrap electrical and electronic equipments are considered illegal traffic under Article 9 of Basel Convention. Return consent and approval need prior import to Thailand. This is the matter that we notified to CA of Japan. Next. So in December 25th, 2014, Japan has confirmed the letter taking responsibility for take back procedure from Japan to November 2015. This is on take back processing under custom law. And after that, in December 2015, there is a meeting to discussion in Thailand between the Department of Industrial Works and Thai Custom Department, and also importer and ship agency to send this waste back to Japan. And in 2016, that means too long time, Thailand request consent to take back from CA Japan. And in April 2016, Japan approved of take back consent. So from May to July in 2016, the IWO in Thailand coordinate with the custom port and phase forward for export procedure and necessary document. Yeah. In July 28, 2016, we have Thai-Japanese cooperation ceremony for container ship back to Japan under Basel Convention. So the container was shipped from Thailand in July 29, 2016. In August 7, 2016, container arrived Japan by the Ministry of Environment Japan. And after that, the MOEJ take legal action against the exporter. This is a case study, the illegal V from Japan to Thailand. In addition, in Thailand, still have maybe two or three cases that in the last year, that my organization, Pollution Control Department, have sent the officer to inspect products that are prohibited product. The first case is the import municipal waste from the United States. This is declared like a paper scrap, but when we inspect, we found that it is what municipal waste. So this is total waste around maybe 300 tons. It is cost 3825. So this is that is a way that prohibit for import and transit to Thailand. So this case take back processing under custom law. The cargo ship depart from Land Chabang Port, Thailand since February 12, 2022. And the last case, this is maybe the same waste. This is a declared like a paper scrap, but when we found that it is a municipal waste, total around 130 tons. Yeah. So this case we take back processing under the custom law. The same the second case. So the cargo ship depart from Land Chabang Port, Thailand since September 20, 2022. So this is a case study from Thailand that we management that illegal waste from another country. In general, inspection of import goods, Thai Custom Department will be preliminary examination with an X-ray machine. If found that any product is likely to be considered a prohibited product, such as e-waste or municipal waste, they will cooperate with renewal agency like a PCD or the IWO to inspect the product in the container. Moreover, Thailand has guidelines for take back procedure that approved by National Environment Committee in 2015. Next. So this is what is needed to effectively handle illegal waste trafficking case. I think from the past until now that Thailand implement, I think the key factor for success to handle illegal waste trafficking case. So we need cooperation between relevant agency, whether it be government and private sector or international cooperation organization. Yeah, that's a case study in Thailand that we share with you all here. Thank you. This is my side. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It is very interesting how you show us the case study, the step by step from when the case is found until it's successfully taken back by the country of origin. Thank you very much. Now we'll move to our last, but of course not least, of our presenters. We have Mr. Sandro Foglia. Mr. Sandro is currently working as anti-fraud officer of General Customs 2 Office. He has more than 30 years of experience working on various departments within the General Local Police Office, and in 2020, he moved to the anti-fraud department of Genoa Custom 2. He has 2 diplomas in political science and also education and master degree in police service from the University of Genoa. Mr. Fogli also working as a trainer at the International School of Local Police, where he teaches criminal law, juvenile law, and procedure and Italian immigration law. So, Mr. Sandro, let me open your presentation, and yeah, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Lila.
Yes.
Good evening. Thank you to everybody, and thank you for UNODC for the support, precious support. So the focus of this presentation is quickly how to avoid or block the illegal traffic of waste toward Asia or Africa, especially hazardous waste. So this is the port of Genoa. We promise that in Genoa operate 2 different custom office. In Genoa 1 here, and Genoa 2 here. This is my area. And this operates the anti-fraud office, which I belong. And go on. We have prepared the data that say to us that the volume is increased, the controls, the check are increased respect to the last years. Go on, Mila. Next.
Okay.
Our number referred to different parts of Port of Genoa 2, airport and Genova Pra, this one. But the focus is another. Can you pass to the next slide? Okay, no, go on. These are number aggregates and especially for airport and Port of Pra. This is important. This is a number of the container inspected by anti-fraud in 2022. In 93 cases, we have made a communication of crime for trafficking illegal waste. 93 are 20% around. It's important. And 46 of 91 are waste, only waste. To Asia and Africa especially, from Pra. That is the focus of the problem. Next. Okay, next. So, how born a control by anti-fraud to stop the illegal traffic? In 2 main ways. One, by a risk analysis on our own, by central data or local data. Or another way is a reporting by other police force. In Italy, we have 4 police force. There too much work. Next. Okay. The verification is divided in 2 steps. The first is the control. Individuate the expedition, we control, we check this kind of document. We make an analysis of exporting Italian company. How many export in a year you have made? If you have environmental authorization, if there is a match between the waste declared and the waste produced by the company, the value of waste, and we control if exists the company who receive at destination the waste and its authorization normally. Next, please. Okay, this is me. The second step, physical verification. And so we can pass to the case that we have proposed tonight. Okay, this is number or our office. Okay, the next. Okay, this is the count of the kilos of waste divided from type. Okay, the preponderant is e-waste. And under we have the total in a year. Next, please. So this is a focus, this is a case similar to the colleague. It was an expedition of waste from Italy to Thailandia. From the point of view of documentation, was okay, because was declared a kind of waste that was waste produced to no ferrous metal processing. Okay, and we had the next piece. We have on the left the authorization of the company of destination. On the right, we have the contracts between the parts. So the physical verification declared another things. We found another kind of waste, especially all e-waste was electrical and electric waste mixed with metal, ferrous metal and no metal, and plastics. So we have two kind of problems. Another kind of waste, respect as the declaration, and the mix that was always forbidden. And for this kind of waste, don't exist a Basel code. So this is a case of unlisted waste. So the procedure is more complicated. No, not only Annex 7, but a prior procedure of authorization, asking for the country of destination the authorization to receive the waste. Okay, we can go on. At the last, we have an example, the photos of this case. Next, please, Lila. So this was the container open. Okay. The next two is the same. Okay. As you can see, we can't speak of non-ferrous metal waste. Okay.
How about the document? What is actually in the document here? What kind of waste?
In the declaration.
Yeah, in the
Aluminium and no ferrous metal. Okay. Next. Okay, this is another focus. The next, okay. This other is an example of exploitation tower Asia. And the next, this is an example of export traffic illegal of a waste tower Africa. Is another kind of waste because these are undeclared, totally illegal. And so with any kind of authorization and documents, okay? And the Port of Bra is the main problem. Thank you. The next, Lila. Okay. You can see they hide hazardous waste into another hazardous waste. The next, Lila, please. Okay. I stop speaking. Too late. But I giving you the last reflection, the last information. There are a main difference between the illegal equipment toward Africa and toward Asia. In the first case, Africa are, as I said, the totally illegal waste without any kind of authorization at destination and document at the start. So toward Asia often are legal, but the problem is that the company who's shipping don't have authorization, especially authorization from that kind of waste, and at destination, the company has the same problem. Okay. So we are for 74% in this year, the problem with Africa, not with Asia. Next year, I don't know.
I hope not.
That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Much, Sandra, and all the panelists for the very, very interesting presentation, and also very visual presentation. And now we are going to the Q&A.
Sorry, would you mind just going back to this slide? You had a slide showing total tonnage illegally exported from Genoa last year. Just go back to that slide for one moment, please.
Right.
I just missed total tonnage here.
This one?
So I think it's the next slide.
Or the next one? This one?
You had her, yes.
Okay.
So 710,000 tons, yes.
Careless was not actually exported, was stopped before it was exported, right?
This is why I want to clarify.
I need to read because I have a problem with.
Okay. Is this figure here 710,000 tons basically stopped? Or is this 700,000 tons that actually stops? You stopped 700,000.
Yes.
Well, I think that.
Because we have an according with the judgment authorities.
Yeah.
We can stop it and store in a authorized area without season.
Caesar.
And so the elimination of the problem of the waste in the open area is was stopped. Okay, thank you for the question.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much for, it's very good that we highlight the amount that's stopped by it's indeed a very great job by the country of origin. Because if they let it go, then it is the country of destination who will be it's gonna be the problem of the country of destination. So it's very nice to have both perspective, both from the country of destination, Indonesian talent, and also from the origin country of the waste. So if there's any question on the floor, then yes.
I would just like to know if there will be these presentations available. Yes.
Yes. Yes, we will. Yeah, we will make the presentation and also the recording of the session. We'll give it to the secretariat, and that will be published later. Is there any other question? I think we forgot that there's online, I think. I'm sorry, yeah, it's about the presentation that's not show up. Yeah, I'm very sorry for the technicalities. We tried and it's working well before that, but I think, sometimes when the session starts, it's kind of there's technicalities. So if there's no more question. Oh, yeah, please.
I just wanted to know, this illegal traffic in waste, we are accompanied with notification, Basel Convention notification forms. No, as Basel demands, you will have the notification.
We do.
Yeah. So
Often the problem, if I right understood, is that the country of destination sometimes answer too late or don't answer. As a suggestion, I can say will be good to identify an office at international level who can process this request to have an answer quickly. Will be a good thing, I think. if it will be possible in the future. I hope so.
You know, because when she was making presentation,
Yes.
she actually followed the Basel procedure. Okay, we are an intending company in the importing and exporting country, approaches the competent authority of the country, and then gets consent to ship out to the destination country. And that is accompanied with inspection of either body, whether Minister of Environment or custom or whatever that is involved, and then fills the transboundary notification form endorsed by the competent authorities.
Perhaps I can answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that form that is endorsed will be sent to the CA of the destination company to make it transparent. And then it goes through the line of the competent authorities and the authorities concerned in both import and export, and even transit, so that they know this thing is coming. When it comes to our country, we'll be sure that very particular facility or company that is requesting for it is registered and has the certificate to recycle, if it's for recycling. And then that waste is inspected, that's not mixed. And before you even do that, we request from the destination, what are your requirements for such? You don't take mixed waste. We advise them, don't do it, don't allow that. That's one question I wanted to know. The next one, what actually constituted the illegality in all of this? Is it that they didn't fill the form? Or they didn't fill it, they didn't even submit the form at all? Or what is declared, like the last I said, is different from what was physically seen? Or is there any other thing that constitutes illegality in this? I'm from Africa and I'm concerned that a lot of things are coming to Africa. I'm from Nigeria. So I'm worried, and we need to, track these things so that we stop it.
Agree with you.
Let them follow the real procedure.
Yeah.
We're not after against businesses, but let it go through the normal procedure.
Yeah.
And we can only do like the second last that said, by cooperation, international cooperation between the competent authorities.
Yeah.
And it's very clear.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you very much. I agree with you. Totally agree that the procedure should be followed. And in the case of Indonesia, actually, we have some steps for this. So when we found there was illegal waste found by the custom, and then we have the task force that I mentioned before. And then in the task force, of course, we have contact the company, the producer, the company. And then the first, we would like to solve this problem as quick as we can. So business to business, we try to solve this. So you solve this because we found this, you re-export again to the origin country. But the problem sometimes, because a letter or this is illegal, so it is not, we cannot re-export easily. Yeah, there are some procedures that we have to follow, but there with some documents that they don't have it. So the second, we will contact with the focal point Basel in Indonesia is in my office, and then the Basel Secretariat and Basel in the origin country. Yeah, we talk with them and then how we solve this problem. So actually mainly that kind of solution that we, but sometimes not easy again, because sometimes the origin country is not member of Basel Conventions. That's the problem.
Because in our country, we have it enshrined in the law that the take back system or the return shipment is financed by the facility that requested for that importation. So if he's going to take back first, we notify the agency and the police to sell that country.
Yeah.
Make proper arrest, prosecution. He's going to pay if it is coming back. He's going to pay because for everything. So that very rapport or consensus between the two CAs is really very key. That is why that international cooperation is important. And I think it's enshrined in Basel procedure. So I pray we keep it up. And I would like to take your contact because we have a lot of this from not Indonesia, East, coming to us.
Can I have question to Sandro actually?
Yes, I think, but yeah.
Okay, because like in Indonesia, like if we before we have decision that it will export or something, so we have the problem in the cost of demurrage cost. Yeah, in the port.
Of destinations.
Because before we send back to the origin country.
Okay.
Yeah, they put it in the port. And then the cost of, we have 1,000 containers illegals there. And then who will pay that? The demurrage, the cost of.
This is a big problem, especially in Genova, Prague, because the costs are very high.
Yeah, that's our problem.
We don't know how to resolve it.
The same with us.
Sandro, ma è la compagnia che paga però se è sotto sequestro.
The company may be the subject who pays the for our resolve the problem by money.
If the container is under seizure, the company for the
But sometimes they said that, oh, I broke. I cannot pay. That's the problem.
in fact, for other trades, there are deposits.
Yeah.
For example, I don't know if your law consider this. So surely for an import of waste, if he has to deposit to cover eventual re-export or treatment of the waste. I don't know. For us, there is during transportation and the companies elaborate the waste.
So I have to interrupt because like for the reason of respecting the time, I think we still have like very less if you want like it's gonna be or we can take it outside if you want to speak with the panel.
Short question, maybe a long answer though.
It's gonna be like
How do the panelists see the new Basel e-waste amendments helping to identify and enforce against at least illegal electronic shipments in this regard?
probably if Vivian or Kunwani want to. Yeah, as usual, have any comment about it?
Yeah, I don't have any position now.
Okay, so
Sorry,
great.
but your question is very good.
Can I add something? So it's not about position, but it's about so the latest operation Demeter. So I don't know if you're familiar. It's an enforcement operation led by China Customs and World Customs Organization, and each year they run this operation, they see the trends in what's trafficked the most, and last year e-waste was really going high. So e-waste is becoming the new, like plastic is second, used to be first, but by now e-waste is coming. So I think it's very important to have a closer look to e-waste. So when you're looking at the amount of e-waste that's generated and increasing, that's I think what parties are deciding during the Basel Convention related to that is linked to a problem that actually exists.
Thank you.
It will not be e-waste, it will be products.
Yeah.
Believe me.
Okay, so I have to conclude our session today. It's indeed a very nice session with a very nice discussion. Again, I would like to thank all our panelists and all of our audience for joining us for this side events. I know it's quite late in the evening. Thank you very much. And yeah, thank you very much for coming. Good evening, everyone.
Thank you.